What's up, world? I'm Jesse.
I'm Colin.
I'm Dallas.
And we are the Reshoots, here to talk to you about War for the Planet of the Apes.
Brass monkey.
So before we get started, this is a spoiler review.
Yes, it
Ye
is.
be warned. Spoilers ahoy.
Wow.
So War for the Planet of the Apes is the world's most misleading title. It's a story about Caesar and his band of apes. It's been 2 years since dawn of the Planet of the Apes. They are on the run from Woody Harrelson's Colonel. Woody Harrelson's Colonel does eventually catch up with these apes, and in an attempt to assassinate Caesar, ends up killing Caesar's wife and his oldest son, leaving his youngest. He spares his youngest, or he misses his youngest. This sends Caesar on a kamikaze revenge spree, which eventually gets him and his apes captured by Woody Harrelson's Colonel, and from then on out, it's basically a prison break movie.
Also a slavery movie.
It's a slavery/prison break movie. It's what you wish would happen in every slavery movie. They would just rise up and take over, and that the world's most convenient avalanche would just come and wipe all their problems away.
Yeah, it was really nice.
So, gentlemen, Gabby, what did you think of War for the Planet of the Apes?
I mean, I didn't particularly care for it, but I think my main issue with this movie was that War for the Planet of the Apes.
Mm-hmm.
There was not a lot of war in this movie, and the war that was there was between two human factions. The apes were in the middle.
Humans we don't care about.
I mean,
to be fair, that wasn't until like the end of the movie.
That too. Well, that's my problem. Is that
it started with an ape-human war scene.
Kinda.
Like the first scene is what we think the movie's going to be.
Sure.
Which is why we came to see the movie.
You know what? Yeah.
But
so
there's
I was
no.
like, this is good. This is how we want it. But then.
Well, I think when I think war, I don't think like that. Did not feel like a war. That was like an assassination.
Which part?
The beginning, when it's
The
like we're
assassination
creeping
part.
in. To me, war is like, okay, we're on a battlefield. We know this is happening. We're gonna.
No. Because they creep in after the first scene. The first scene is just. I'm talking about when the gorillas are the apes are throwing, like the bombs.
Yeah,
and stuff
the
like
attack on the compound.
I'm not talking about later that night when the colonel creeps in.
Yeah, that first battle. That's a battle.
Like that's a battle
all right,
scene.
Sure.
That's the Patriot.
But there's really just that, because I wouldn't even call the assassination scene isn't really even an action sequence, so much as it's like a suspense.
Yeah, it's kind of like a
sequence.
What's gonna happen?
Okay, yeah.
So we have the first battle, and then we have the ending battle, and that's pretty much it. And then the rest of the movie is very well done character development and kind of story plotting, very deliberately paced, I shall say.
It's a great movie. It's not a great war movie.
Yeah, I think it's a very good movie.
Yeah.
I don't know if I go to great.
I liked it a lot. I think the only drawbacks in the movie came from my expectations of this being a war movie. But the movie on its own is great. Taken out of the context of the last two, this is a great movie to me. Because characters, Caesar's fantastic. The story, to me, is great. If it didn't have the title War, if it was another, like...
Political unrest of the Planet of the Apes.
Not even that. Just, like, if they kept with, like, the theme of, like, the rise and the dawn. If it was, like, noon. Or, like, something relating to the sun. High noon.
High noon of the Planet of the Apes. What made me love the first two as much as I did was... One, they were unpredictable. I feel like both, you feel like you know where the story's going, and then it doesn't go that direction. Two, Caesar as a character, who I think is, again, one of the greatest characters we have in movies right now. Maybe the greatest character we have in movies right now. He's my favorite character. This movie, I felt like was more predictable. You could kind of see where every story beat was going, and I couldn't root for Caesar as much as I had in the past. Which I get, he's going through more than he's ever been. The whole revenge thing, it was a little bit of, come on, Caesar, you're better than this. Which I get was the point, and he even admits at the end, like,
right, because
I'm
like
becoming
Maurice
Koba.
is saying everything that you're saying.
Yeah.
So I like that they address it, and it's like, we get to see that he's consumed by rage.
Right.
But yeah, I did want, because everything in the first two was like, I'm doing this for the good of apes.
Right.
And
this one was just, I'm pissed.
It's like, I'm mad right now. But I like that he didn't try to put them in danger. Like, he wasn't like, we're all going to lead an attack on these humans. He wasn't like Koba. He was like, I want you guys to go be safe. You guys go to where it's safe. Leave me. I'm going to handle this. Because whatever happens to me, I don't want that to affect the rest of my apes.
Yeah.
So he was a good leader, even though he left to not lead.
Yeah, I don't
He was
know.
a considerate leader. He's like, I don't want to put you guys in danger, but I have to do this. So y'all just gonna have to go.
From a story perspective, I get why he made the decisions he made throughout the movie. But it made me enjoy the movie less when I couldn't go, yeah, Caesar. Maybe that's a me thing. Maybe that's not a movie thing. But at no point during this movie, because with the exception being the whipping scene, that was the one scene where I'm like, yeah, Caesar, go. When he tells, leave him. And then all the apes stop. And then to stop Caesar from dying, all the apes start working again without him telling them to do that. I thought that was a great scene. I was like, yeah, that's the Caesar I remember from the other two. The one who just has inspired these apes.
I didn't want him to be that character who goes mad with rage and can't see it. Because my thing about Caesar is that Caesar is wise.
Yeah.
He's self-aware. He knows what needs to be done. And he doesn't lose any of that because he stays just as self-aware. He's not like, oh, I'm not like Koba. I'm better than him, blah, blah, blah. He's like, I see now. I am kind of like Koba. Like, Koba was consumed with rage. I can't escape my hate, I think is what he said.
I think he said that.
Like, I can't escape my hate. And it doesn't feel like when the character is being stupid and won't listen to anybody, he's like, you're right. This man killed my family. I'm going to kill him. So it's like, I like Caesar because it's like, you know what you're doing. You don't think what you're doing is, I don't want to say right, because, you know, he's well within his rights to kill that man. But yeah, there was no point when I stopped supporting Caesar. Like, I was like, this is still the character that I love, going down a dark path, but he hasn't stopped being him.
He hasn't stopped being the character.
So it's like, he didn't lose himself.
I thought he was more compelling in this movie than I thought he was in the other two because he was so personally motivated. Because the first two, especially the second one, is largely the apes as a community. And that works. That's great. But this one, there was much more personal motivation. And so for me, I think I got a better sense of who he was as a character from this one than I did from the first two. So I liked it a lot. I mean, he's a good character. He's a really interesting character. And as you said, Andy Serkis does a fantastic job.
So good. The scene where he wants to shoot the colonel, and he doesn't. Just the look on his face.
There's so much just struggle in his face,
eyes,
like,
man. In his cartoon eyeballs.
This is so weird because like that is an animated ape, and
it's a cartoon monkey.
I saw more emotion in this animated ape than I've seen in 90% of human actors.
Right. To that point, though, part of that is down to the fact that his face is more human than ape. The way it's modeled.
They have made him a lot very human.
So he looks different.
But even if he was a human, like, he's CGI. He is animated.
Yeah.
So, and I know it's motion capture.
Yeah.
But like,
I believed him more than I believed Tarkin in Rogue One.
They get a little more leeway with Caesar, and Caesar is almost human at this point. So it's like he gets more and more close. He gets closer to being a human as the movies go on. So with him looking like this, it's like, you know, just it's Caesar. Like if we did several more movies, at one point he'd just be Andy Serkis.
And Andy Serkis, once again, I'm going to say, needs to be nominated for an Oscar for this role. I think so. I've said it for both the other two movies. This one more than any. He does more emotionally as Caesar than he has in either of the two movies. He does it well. And even though I'm not rooting for his character so much, I'm just like, Andy Serkis, though, man.
It's fantastic.
Andy Serkis.
The Colonel.
I like the Colonel. He was a good enough villain, I think.
The biggest problem I have with him is a minor thing.
Okay.
But there was a solid, 10 seconds where he's shaving his
half
head.
His head!
What?
Only half his head!
He didn't shave it, but I didn't see him wipe the shaving cream off, so where did it go?
Some say to this day that the shaving cream is still there.
He's dead and this is on his head.
I think he blew off his head, and instead of blood splattering, it's shaving cream. I did like him, though. I thought he was a good villain. I liked his motivation. Here's what I like about all these movies.
There it is.
Is that by rights, we should be rooting for the humans, right? We should be on Woody Harrelson's side. Because it makes sense. What would you do to protect the entire human race? Yeah. Well, because I like the speech he gave to Caesar. Because he does basically say, I know it's not your fault, but I also can't allow this to happen.
His motivation is very based in logic.
Yeah, I had to kill my own son in order to do this.
And I fault him for just being a bad guy.
Yeah.
But as far as your motivations,
It's because he's a bad guy. It doesn't
Exactly.
mean he's bad
Like,
guy.
he is both.
Point is, I did like him as a character.
where were we? Oh yeah,
I liked
he's
Woody
a
Harrelson
very
as a
great
character.
villain. I
Yeah.
think
Not as good as Koba.
that's my problem. Like
Not as,
following Koba.
Koba was one of the greatest villains I have seen in a long
Well,
time.
also just
fantastic.
in general, if you give me the option of a human opponent or an ape opponent coming out of Caesar's own followers, yeah, that's going to be more
To
compelling.
be fair to them, I think this is kind of, you said before, the Heath Ledger Joker thing,
Yeah.
where Bane is a good villain, but compared to Heath Ledger's Joker,
yeah, it's like-
following up the Joker was too hard. I think the same thing happened here. The Colonel was a good villain, and had we got him before Koba, I think we'd all like him a lot more than we do now. Now, I will say the Colonel did, for me, solve an issue I did have with the other two, which is I thought the human characters were very flat in both
Yeah,
Rise and
They
Dawn.
definitely were.
Yeah.
Human characters were not, they were just there. Anytime screen time is devoted to them, you're like, all right, let's just get back to the apes.
Yeah.
This one, they made up for it. Even the
They
little
did.
punk that we don't like, the one that kills Caesar, Preacher.
Peter.
At least he had a character arc. You know? At least they tried. They gave
Did
him
he
some
though?
kind of...
I think they teased the character.
Or they teased the character, I'm sorry. They
He
did
didn't
tease the
have
character.
one.
But I did, like,
He's the same guy throughout.
care about seeing him on screen when he came in. At least I felt something.
I do want to talk about the Colonel's death because it was done well. The scene in which he dies is amazing. It's done well. But it's the most foreshadowed death of any movie death that I can think of right now.
Han Solo.
Yeah, okay. But yeah, and I'm thinking about Han Solo's death. Yeah, he talks about how
You know what you have to
people
do.
started dying from the disease and how it's evolved because now it turns humans into almost apes,
Right.
and then kills them. Which I thought that was a great plot point.
Yeah.
To
And
evolve the disease is very interesting.
It pushes us closer to the...
Yeah,
original
like we have
plan
to get rid of all these humans somehow.
Yeah.
Now we're just gonna kill them off. So the little girl, Nova, she has the new and improved disease.
Right.
So she can't speak, and she is bleeding when they find her. So she has a doll that looks like Lilo's doll from Lilo and Stitch.
Yeah, looks like Gur.
And she's freaking bled all over it.
Yeah.
And at some point, Woody Harrelson picks up the doll. He stares at it for like 5 minutes.
Yeah.
And it's like the camera is telling you, hey, remember the disease?
Yeah.
Pay attention.
Got
Look
blood
at this doll.
all
It
over
has
the
blood
doll.
on it. He's going to die. So then he dies.
He does.
I mean, Winter
a little bit of winter right now would be nice. It's hot.
was fine. Winter gave a good reason of the humans are probably going to kill us and they won't kill me if I work for them, so hey.
I also just
Anyway.
liked, when he first showed up on screen, I was like, whoa, he's cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's like,
Yeah,
oh
it's
my
an
God.
albino
Visually
gorilla. Hell yeah.
distinct.
Yeah. And I did like Red Donkey, which is the other gorilla that's on the good guy's side from the beginning, just because he was red and distinct. He also looked cool. I liked his face.
Yeah.
He had a cool face.
It's a cool looking gorilla.
The visuals, in general, in this
Fantastic.
movie are fantastic.
All right. Now we know.
All right, moving on.
To Bad Ape?
Oh, Bad Ape. I like Bad Ape.
I didn't.
I like Bad Ape more than I thought I was going to like Bad Ape. When Bad Ape first showed up, I was like, oof, that's a shift in tone.
I was like, what is this?
Yeah,
What's happening?
it kind of, but he grew on me. I liked him because he was funny without. He didn't feel like the comic relief to me
How?
because he would just that it felt natural to him. Like this is how he would react to things. Like he's like, I'm terrified, and I have a squeaky voice because we can't all sound like gorillas. I'm like, okay, that's fine. Other than that, he didn't do anything particularly. Like he was just kind of a nervous wreck of a person, and they played it more for laughs than anything else. But he didn't try. It didn't feel like they were trying to make us laugh with him.
I feel like that it was, which is
Okay.
weird to me because like he'll like run and then fall down. I'm okay. Like that's a
Okay.
Eugene from Hey Arnold joke. Like, this
That's
is like
literally Eugene from
that is like this is the comic relief, which is like I didn't feel like this movie needed.
It didn't need well, but
See,
at the
that
same
was my
time, then are
problem.
we
It's
going to be
nice to like
too
lighten
heavy?
up a little bit.
Honestly, I wanted this movie to just go full heavy. Every time they did comedy, it felt weird and like you're trying to force this in because you feel like you have to lighten it up. It's like, what is it? Joss Whedon has that quote, something like, make it dark, make it grim, but then for the love of God, tell a joke.
Mhm.
And I don't agree with that because I think that when you do that, sometimes you take what is serious and you don't let it be as serious as it needs to be. And this movie is a personal revenge story. So then to have a character, go, oh no, like,
He wasn't useless. Like he provided
And I want to see more of him. going
information
forward.
of like because they were like, why can't he sign?
Right.
What's wrong? He's not one of ours. What's wrong with him? What's going on? And he kind of shows us like this is where things are going. It's not only Caesar's tribe that is advanced. He gets advanced to the point where he only speaks English.
and he's wearing clothes,
He's
and
wearing
he's standing
clothes.
upright. He's kind of the next evolution of the
He's like
ape,
a little
getting
furry
us closer
person.
to Dr. Zayas, Dr. Zayas. Yeah. So what do you guys think of the movie? I'll go first.
Thanks for asking. Go ahead.
Yes. You're so nice.
I still think it's a really good movie. I still recommend this movie. I think if you're a fan of Planet of the Apes, you should go watch the movie. If you're not a fan of Planet of the Apes, you should still go watch it. Just know that you're not getting a big action blockbuster spectacular. You're getting a deep emotional character study on Caesar the Ape. If you're cool with that, go watch it. Enjoy it. It's a great movie. Andy Serkis deserves an Oscar.
I think from this conversation, I actually grew to like it more because you pointed out that it's not. You can't go into it thinking that it was going to be a war movie. I went into this thinking there's going to be explosions every 5 minutes.
I wonder why you would think such a thing.
Well, yeah. But I think I agree with Jesse. I think it's good. You just got to go in with the right expectations. And, I mean, if you just look at it, even if you don't enjoy the plot, just from a technical standpoint, it's beautiful. And the work they put into it is obvious. Like, it's obvious how much love they put into this, how much care they put into this. It's worth seeing for that alone. So I'd recommend it, yeah.
So I just sat on this couch so I could convince Colin that he kind of liked it. So,
Well done, sir.
boom.
Oh, wait.
My work is
well
done.
done, sir.
Oh yeah, right in front.
There we go.
But yeah, pretty much everything Jesse said. Just know what you're getting into, which you do if you watch this whole video.
Which you should if
Yeah.
before you even click on our video. It's a spoiler review.
Let them live their lives how they want to live it. I thought it was great. The second one is better, but this is one of the better movies I've seen this year. It's fantastic. The acting's great. Caesar's great. Visual effects are stunning. It's a great movie. Watch it. All right, cool. You can find me on Twitter at a king named Simba or the Reshoots.
You can find me at the Jester 1138 or the Reshoots.
You can find me on Twitter at Duck McGuck or the Reshoots.
Also, we're on Facebook too.
At the Reshoots.
And I think Instagram, right?
Also Instagram.
Yeah. We're on everything.
Just look up the Reshoots on every social media you've got. We'll be there.
Please do. That would actually help a lot if we started getting up in the Google searches. You know,
just
type
look us
in
up a lot.
"re" and we pop up.
That'd be dope.
All right, guys, have fun out
Have
there.
fun out there.
Bye. Do it again, because we can't use that one.
Okay.
There we go.
Okay.
I think.
Oh, it's terrible.
Put that in the blooper reel.
There it is. We got the blooper.
Why are you talking? Shut up. Wait. Ah!
We have,
Oh, God.
we have a jump scare blooper. 3, 2, 1.
What are you guys doing?
We're trying to give our social media